Hello and welcome to this Marketing in a Global Environment course. I am Max Hubert Belesco, your teacher. This course is a real opportunity for you to go further than getting marketing knowledge, as it explains geoeconomics, and for each country you may consider expanding your business capabilities, will push you prior to analyze the market, considering geography, climate, history, politics, demographics, lifestyles, culture, technology, economics, etc. Please, before to start going through the modules of this course, review your marketing and strategic tools you will need to use while considering applying a marketing strategy to your market. Indeed, this review should include at least the tools, methods to be able to set up the P's, and while we are more and more on digital, please use 7 P's and add to the 4 P's you probably already know, the people, the processes, and the physical evidence. Think also reviewing the product lifecycle management, as you absolutely need to be very confident with the different steps and how the marketer should consider applying appropriate strategy while entering during the launching phase or during the other phases. For the study of the market and the business plan you will have to do, I strongly also recommend reviewing strategic tools such as the 4 market positioning strategies from Michael Porter in order to be able to build a unique and durable competitive advantage. Think also reviewing PESTEL for the macro environment analysis. Use, please, VRIO to check if your solution need to be protected, but also your company eventually recognized to be prior to launch your new solution. If you have already some solution on the market, you may be able to use BCG matrix in order to check if it is still accurate to continue investing in your solution, or just maintain it until the sales number will show that you should better removing your offer from this market. Consider also your main internal strengths and weaknesses, and then you will be able to build a SWOT matrix. So please review that and be careful. For instance, for the SWOT, I would strongly recommend to have only 5 arguments per area, and just use some keywords, no sentences, and you will see that it will be more powerful. Consider also as a marketer that decisions should be made to address the needs and then get significant market shares. Also consider the new marketing trends coming from economic disruptions, such as Uberization. Uberization will completely change the way to consider applying a marketing strategy, considering selling not only product, but adding value and changing client relationship, selling services. Launching solution at a low price, which will grow later in the meanwhile than the usage. Reducing the value chain by applying disintermediatization, etc. So as a consequence, this return on investment will take more time, but this is an extraordinary opportunity to prevent being obliged to consider sharing the market with new entrants. Another phenomenon is the hype phenomenon, which is really interesting to know and to anticipate, because this affects the product life cycle and may cause bad results, resulting as a consequence of bad buzzes. If the company do not anticipate such bad buzzes, this may be quickly than planned the end of the product sales, as the market may reconsider your solution and change their buying decision. Therefore, within the sales plan, the company should anticipate monitoring its e-reputation and be ready to be strongly reactive in order to get no sales losses. Another thing to consider is digital. Digital is also a real change within the way a marketer needs to consider applying its strategy. For instance, it changed a lot on the distribution channel. Today, a client may consider using a research engine like Google to identify suppliers and get information on their other sources. Then this customer may go through your website before to consider taking a decision. It will do its own benchmark using other sources of information, such as a social network, which are so useful to identify experts, clients, and exchanges with them. Also, this is a real opportunity for you and your company to enter into such discussions within the social network early as possible in the process and help the customer to build its knowledge and find the appropriate solution within. In addition, business is transforming itself to save time to customer and provide a better customer experience. Another thing to consider is big data. Big data is also a fantastic opportunity for marketers to get more information about the market and as a consequence can consider applying personal marketing strategy instead of considering segmentations. This is also very interesting for the marketer who will be more efficient while applying tailored strategy, getting in mind the needs and the desires, and so getting much better results with its strategies. Last thing, but not least, time scales. The life cycle are dramatically reducing over time. And for this reason, today customer find very quickly a solution to its needs, and it is easier than ever to get him having a buying desire. As a marketer, it is more and more important to play with such timescales reductions by providing quickly new solutions and stay ahead of the market needs by continuously monitoring the market trends, innovating and launching new solutions. And finally, I really consider it's very important to behave like that in order to disturb the competition, which will have no time really to find a solution and entering the market with something to compete against you. This course will cover different modules. So the first module will be focusing on scope and challenging in international marketing. You will learn that international marketing starts with knowledge how this world is working in terms of politics, economics, culture, regions, lifestyles, etc. This is very important for you to consider seriously the intercultural components and be confident with cultural components which may be related to the marketing strategy to apply in the country you are considering. Then, when we are considering global marketing, we need to check how global could our strategy be, bearing in mind our first objective to apply as much as possible the main strategy everywhere we plan to operate. We also need to decide if we will operate globally through partners such as distributors or are on our own, and then decide to set up foreign branches with as much as possible strength strategy globally, with when it is appropriate and when we have no choice, do some local adjustments. In order to fully understand global markets, I advise you to go and think about getting more knowledge on the geopolitical trends within the main regions where most trading is considering. Saying that, I think about the different networks, such as ASEAN in Asia, NAFTA, the Mercosur, but if you also consider to study Africa, please learn the different communities within this area. Think also about the triad, which is between Eastern Asia, European Union and North America, sharing most of the worldwide GDP. In order to fully understand markets, it is important to get knowledge on history of a country, the geography, and most details on politics, economics, social particularities, technology, legal, level of protectionism, or other specific norms, apply and buying attitudes relevant to this country. The climate and topography of a studied country will help also the marketer to consider relevant issue and take some appropriate decision while promoting a specific product for this country. In addition, emerging market may be interesting to study and monitor, as they have no constraints and may have industrialized country, and therefore this may be interesting to consider entering into the market as soon as the buying power of such country may be considered as relevant for the marketer. Going through different cultural dimensions may also help the global marketer to be efficient, considering its marketing strategy. Please pay attention with this issue that on its own may be a matter of business failure should you ignore it. Do not ignore either the political components of the country. You may consider targeting, as it will impact your marketing decision-making process. Be also aware of laws applying to the country you are considering. It is important to be confident with the aspect, as some legal systems may prevent you from doing your business. Also, countries have their own laws regulating marketing activities and impacting the marketing mix you will have to consider. Finally, about the buzz message that you may have sometimes to translate, be careful that it's not only a matter of word-to-word translation, but you may need sometimes in specific country to review the message you should consider. For instance, Coca-Cola was adapted its famous sharing happiness to delicious happiness for China. On second module, you will concentrate on global marketing strategies. In order to be confident, you will learn the research process and you will be happy to review probably some methods and tools you should already know. For that, in reality, you will have to analyze the demand and the potential of a market going through macro environment analysis. You have also to learn how and where to get relevant information, to enrich it, to check it through experts, analyze it, and then get the appropriate knowledge to consider being able to start considering the construction of your marketing mix. If you are considering a emerging country, you will not get relevant historical information. You may need to size the addressable market. This is not a problem. In such case, it is important to know that you have to consider a relevant market that may have comparable usages and that will be used as a reference. Also, you may need to know some typical industrialized country, much advanced with relevant information in order to be able to set up your strategy. On the last module, you will concentrate on global marketing mix. You will learn the benefits of global marketing, considering that this is the default strategy to consider, while expanding your market in order to benefit from the capability of economics of scales, either in productions and marketing. Be careful of that, because students most of the time have tendency to think like if they were consumers. And please think more like a CEO, like a company owner, and consider you want to save your money, you want to not necessarily grant different products in different countries, just to be able to address different needs. I advise you to learn the Unsolved Matrix in order to help you to study opportunities to address. And you will see that the 4 possible scenarios from this matrix help you considering products and market components and decide what is the most appropriate to set up within your international strategy. Consider also how you will penetrate your new market and gradually the option of direct foreign investment to apply. This will be the consequence of different factors to this and the long-term strategy the company plans to consider. In terms of products, having a good idea of a studied market, key success factors, the global marketer have to consider that what offer solution is the most appropriate. He will have to consider the standardized or adapt a product. Depending on markets and the product life cycle needs on such market, it may be relevant to consider adapting the local need with either innovating solution for early adopters, and this apply usually in sophisticated market, or old products in order to expand your capability to maximize your revenue for late adopters. And this apply usually to less sophisticated markets, so, such as North African markets, or market from the east of Europe, for instance. Please take also this opportunity to learn when it is appropriate to consider standardizing or adaptation. Again, don't miss the point that by default, for the company perspective, it is always better to minimize adaptation efforts as they will require investment for the company, while standardization will be an opportunity to expand your market using the same marketing strategy and, of course, have better return on investment. We are considering more and more to export not only product but also services, which brings additional values, and therefore it is a strong factor of client loyalty. Also, do not hesitate to consider it seriously. We'll have to consider another component of a global marketing mix, which is the distribution channel to use. You will learn that it is mainly linked to the kind of distribution you plan to consider entering this market. It is related to importers, foreign agents, wholesalers, or any other kind of distributors you may consider to use. It has also to be online with your global distribution strategy, as you may not want your client to use another cross-border channel than could provide better offer to him, for instance, at a better price. In the meantime, think about what will be appropriate such supply chain to set up and take your decision accordingly. For instance, playing with transportations, law and fees to consider. For the communication component, you will learn to consider the IMC for integrated marketing communication, taking into account together international sales proportions, public relations efforts, and advertising issues, having in mind cost matters, but also global brand management, while paying attention of legal constraints, linguistic imitations, intercultural, and religion components. When you have decided to set up a physical presence within the country, you may have to think about the opportunity recruiting local marketers and sales personnels, and then get local specific skills to help global marketers with accurate country-related input. In this case, it will be useful to learn how to avoid doing mistakes that could be costly and may also cause troubles within your global marketing strategy. I strongly advise to learn from your local marketing and sales employees, considering that it is a real opportunity for you to improve the success of the company as a whole. In terms of pricing, of course, it is more complex than considering what price is the most accurate for your local market, as you have to consider more components such as cost of transportation, custom fees, warehousing costs, exchange rates, but also operational and country risks. Having completed full pricing analysis, you will have to decide if you consider a scheming pricing strategy, which is a high price for premium products, a penetration pricing strategy, which is an aggressive low price to stimulate the market. Of course, you may have previously decided to adjust for product components in order to be able to maintain your global margin level, should you have to make efforts to adapt the price. In such case, in order not to lose confidence from your market that will compare prices of your product from a country to another, I strongly recommend proposing a different product to adapt the features of your product, like do the car manufacturers, providing different set of equipments, for instance, from a country to another one.